Good morning to you. It is Tuesday, February 11th. Thanks for being here. I'm Gurveer Dinta.
And I'm Karen Greer, CBS46. As you can see, we're in storm mode right now. We have team coverage for you to help you get out the door where you need to be on time and safely this morning. We've got crews all over Metro Atlanta.
And here in studio, we're tracking your weather as well as your traffic. We've got Rodney Harris and Molly McCullum's here as well. We're going to begin with meteorologist Fred Campagna. Fred, the rain is coming down and flooding is a concern.
It is the big concern for us today. We have flash flood watch, which remains in effect until through this evening. The flash flood risk is highest as you get into the North Georgia mountains. That's why there are some schools that are closed up in North Georgia and some others that are delayed. About a 5 to 10% risk of flash flooding in the Atlanta area. Right now, there's not too much going on in the metro. It's 65 degrees. It's gotten really warm overnight. We'll zoom in here. We have a couple of downpours around Marietta right now, Cobb County. You get down into southern Paulding and northern Douglas County and Carroll County, some splash and dash downpours, but nothing too widespread. Inside the perimeter, things are quiet for now. We'll continue to watch this very closely. Heavy rain falling in northeast Georgia early this morning. There's a front to our west. When that comes through midday and into the afternoon, there could be another round of some showers and some thunderstorms. And some of those storms could contain some gusty winds. So the rain axis shifts a little bit farther to the north for this morning, going through the midday hours. There's that line coming through, and it might not take too much wind with any of those showers or storms to down some trees because the ground is so saturated for us. So continue to watch that very closely. Molly will have another weather update coming up in less than 10. Let's check in though with Rodney, who has a breaking traffic alert.
Yes, a traffic alert coming out of Fulton County this morning. Look at this camera. This is 285 northbound right at I-20. Your traffic barely moving here because of a crash. So a big alert for those of you on the west side of town. Again, that is 285 northbound right at I-20. So as you go from I-20 towards 75 on 285, look at that trip time now. We've expanded out to about 20 minutes. So a heads up to you. In addition to that, we also have in the same area a crash on I-20 eastbound at 285. That will impact those of you coming out of Douglas and Cobb counties this morning. You can actually see how your speeds, that orange on the real-time traffic map, will slow down right around Six Flags in Cobb County. That's not the only thing happening in Atlanta. We also have a ton of crashes on the east side of town, so don't go anywhere. We're going to keep you up to date on that coming up in under 10 minutes.
Rodney, thank you so much. 6:32. We've got breaking news from DeKalb County this morning. A fallen tree knocking out power in a neighborhood in Tucker.
We want to go straight to CBS 46's Rebecca Schramm, who's been live at North Park Drive all morning long. You've watched those power company crews come in the pouring rain, trying to get the lights back on.
Yeah, pouring rain in the dark, Gurveer and Karen. Yeah, they have been at it for hours. We got here at about 3:20 this morning, and they were already starting to chop up that massive tree that fell. Well, now that they've gotten the tree out of the way, they have been able to replace a utility pole that fell, and now they're able to restring the power line. So hopefully they'll have the lights back on pretty soon here in this area. Right now, 78 Georgia Power customers just in this immediate area are in the dark this morning because of this fallen tree. It uprooted overnight, as you can see in this video, perhaps because of the saturated soil from all the rains we've had. It landed across North Park Drive, which is just off Chamblee Tucker Road. It is the main drag through this neighborhood behind Tucker High School near Kelly Kofer Park. It's hard to tell if there's been any property damage because of that fallen tree. We'll certainly be able to survey the area once we get some daylight. Taking another live look, we're seeing this kind of thing in little pockets all across Metro Atlanta. Georgia Power tackled an area north of Decatur. They also they're getting the lights back on near Fairburn, where at one point they had some 700 power outages. So a lot to deal with for Georgia Power, and certainly not a fun way to start off the morning, not having any electricity. Let's turn now to my colleague Adam Harding. He is live in Southwest Atlanta. They've got some street flooding over there to deal with, huh?
Yeah, and it really is beginning a messy morning commute. So the sidewalk is now starting to get wet with all of this water, and this is where it's coming from, folks. It's spilling over onto the sidewalk here from MLK. That's why I can stand right now in several inches of water. I mean, look at all the water that we can kick up with our boots. That's why this lane of traffic is now shut down on MLK as that morning commute begins here at 6 a.m. Take a look at as cars swing by right down here. A lot of them are not slowing down. It looks like this driver is going to take it easy, which is the right thing to do because of all of that standing water. But we've seen cars and buses just fly right through this area, kicking up a lot of water. Take a look at this right here. You see all the water that they're kicking up? It can prove very dangerous on the roadways. That's why when we got here this morning at around 3:30 in the morning, we saw a police officer parked right over here, making sure that nobody was driving here in the right-hand lane. Again, I mentioned that the far right lane here of MLK in the 3000 block is shut down, and you'll see why. All of this water. You'll notice also a lot of these orange markers right here. These are lined up throughout the street to make sure that traffic is not coming down this stretch of the road. The good news is that the rain has stopped, at least for the time being. It hasn't rained too heavily in the last 25-30 minutes or so. The bad news is they still got a whole lot of water before us, and we know it only takes a couple of inches to do a lot of damage for cars, and it can make it almost impossible for somebody who's driving to keep control of that car. So we'll keep a close eye again as that 6 a.m. commute really begins to kick up and kick off. As more water hits the roadway here, we'll send things back to you in the studio.
All right, Adam, thanks so much. CBS 46 is in storm mode right now. Remember, you can download our free CBS 46 app for updates on all these weather conditions, traffic pileups all day long. Clavier.
We're turning our attention now to politics. It is 6:37. The first results from the New Hampshire primary are in. After residents of 3 tiny townships cast their votes, polls opened at midnight. There was a small victory for Michael Bloomberg. 3 of the 5 voters cast write-in ballots for the former New York City mayor. The other 2 votes went to Bernie Sanders and Pete Buttigieg.
And President Trump setting his sights on New Hampshire, thousands showing up for his rally in Manchester, hoping to flip the state in November by swaying independent voters. 43% of New Hampshire voters are independents. State law allows them to vote in the primary.
We proudly welcome and embrace voters of all parties and political persuasions who want to join our mission, a very simple mission. Remember, make America great again.
The president lost New Hampshire, you may remember, in 2016 by less than 3,000 votes.
Now, here at home, Fulton County wants to make sure you know how to use the new voting equipment ahead of the primary here. Next Tuesday, the county's going to hold a mock election so residents can use that new equipment. You can visit any of the 13 locations throughout the county to use Georgia's new voting equipment from 10 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. And if you're interested, we've put a list of those locations on our website, CBS46.com.
Yeah, among other things, bad hair day today with this kind of weather that we're dealing with. And it's windy out there now as well. It has gotten very warm overnight. The temperature 65 right now in Atlanta, southwesterly wind 16 miles per hour. There was some fog earlier today that has now moved off to the north and to the east, up into the North Georgia mountains where there's some heavier rain coming down. Flash flood watch still in effect through this evening. Another 1 to 2 inches of rain possible in many spots, with the best chance of getting a couple of inches of rain today up in northeast Georgia in the mountains. So as you go from Fannin County and Gilmer County and points north and east, Habersham and Rabun County as well. Also a higher risk of flash flooding well off to our west. I only show you that because eventually that part of the system is coming our way Wednesday night and into Thursday. Rainfall totals so far estimated by the radar between 1.5 and 2.5 inches of rain, with the lion's share of it north and west of Atlanta. And as we look at the current river levels, you see a lot of green dots on here. That is good news. Those are rivers that are not flooding, but there are some rivers that are near flood stage and some that are experiencing minor flood stage. And a little closer look here at some of the forecast river levels, some orange dots showing up. Sweetwater Creek here up to the Etowah River, Big Creek, Yellow River, all expected to experience minor flooding in the next couple of days. Right now, there's not a heck of a lot going on in the Atlanta metro area. Still some downpours from North Fulton County back through Douglas County right now, out I-20 into Carroll County. This is where most of the rain has actually been so far this morning. It's been kind of focused Atlanta metro and points west, and of course to the north and to the east. There's a front that will be moving through around midday today. With that will come another round of showers, maybe some thunderstorms. There is a low risk of severe weather as that front moves through. But even if the storms are not severe, because we've seen so much rain so far this month and in the year in general, the ground is very soft, and even sub-severe winds could cause some trees to come down. Molly's here to talk more about those winds and what is ahead for the rest of the forecast.
Yeah, good morning, Fred. We're going to give you a snapshot of what the wind is going to look like at 11 o'clock. So this is right when the front will start to move through Georgia. We're talking about wind gusts on the order of 20 to 25 miles per hour. That is certainly enough to topple some trees with our super saturated soil. So on top of the rain, on top of the flooding and the fog that we're seeing this morning, we're also concerned about trees falling because the wind is already starting to pick up. Let's go through the timing of the rainfall over the next few hours, because that will be mainly confined to the northern half of Georgia. And of course, this is the area Fred was just talking about. We are most concerned about the risk of flash flooding, but anywhere across the metro that we start to see that water building up, you have to be careful. Never underestimate the power of water. Let's fast forward to the middle part of the day, where we could see pockets of heavy downpours, mainly along and north of I-85. As we get into the lunchtime hour, noon and on, that's when we see this thin line start to set up. That is that cold front that's going to pass through. Embedded in that front, we have the chance of strong to severe thunderstorms. It will be isolated, and I'm not expecting widespread severe weather, but anywhere where a thunderstorm does set up, that's an additional chance to see even more heavy rain. Once this gets south of Atlanta, my biggest fear is this might intensify a little bit, where there's more energy for this line of storms to tap into, but that's something we're going to be monitoring very closely as we go into the afternoon. All in all, at least in metro Atlanta, our commute looks better this evening than what we saw yesterday evening, because we're not seeing the rain. But keep in mind, we're going to have a lot of water on the roadways all throughout the day, whether it's raining or not. Let's fast forward into Wednesday. This is our next system that's going to pass through. We're not done with the rain after today, not even close. Late Wednesday evening into early Thursday morning, we have a threat for strong to severe thunderstorms. This is an overnight threat, especially in the northwestern corner, Rome, Floyd County, all the way down into Carrollton. Even that stretches into Atlanta as we get into the early morning hours of Thursday. More rain on Thursday. The rainfall totals just continue to add up. Beside that, we are extremely warm in North Georgia. 68 in Atlanta this afternoon, 72 in LaGrange, and 58 this afternoon in Ellijay. We will finally see a break Friday into Saturday for the first part of the weekend. Valentine's Day looks dry right now and feeling more February-like, with temperatures back down into the 50s.